Where do you see the Bitcoin price likely by the end of 2021, which is the end of next year? Stock to Flow predicts about, what did they say, $100,000 or $120,000 price trajectory. I'm just curious if you think we can crack 6 digits by the end of next year, realistically.
I think if the Democrats win the election, you better believe we're going to. I think there's going to be mass unemployment, and not to get political, but yeah, I'm looking more at the political side of it. I think Trump doesn't have any fear of creating a lot of capital, and that's going to make it skyrocket. So I don't know. Past what I can see on the technical charts, until you get through a all-time high and you see where it breaks out to, then there's some measurements that you can say, well, I can project it's going to go to here. But the capital flow wise, I'm still stuck on the end of 2022 at $250,000. Most of the formulas that I've seen and the intelligent people that have analyzed the supply and flow of Bitcoin have said that $250,000 by the end of 2022 is very easy. And to be honest with you, all I really care is 2026 when I have my balance checking party. That's when I'm going to check it. All I'm focused on right now, Justin, is adding to my portfolio, spreading it out. Like I said, my strategy right now by the end of next year would be to have $1,000 in 500 different cryptos.
Hey, what's good, everyone? Justin Varengia here. Glad to be here with a special guest in the house. Wanted to switch things up. It's been about a year since I had Tom McMurrain last on the show. We have lots to discuss. There's a lot happening. Crypto is looking extremely bullish. Bitcoin has been surging. We have Ethereum. We have Chainlink, new all-time high, just touched $18. Whoa, you know what I mean? So where do we even start, brother? How you been?
I've been doing great, man. I've been so excited to watch your show flourish and see all your interviews, and you're doing a lot of good for the industry, and I just want to thank you for that. So, but yeah, no, I can't believe it's been a year.
Yeah, it's been almost a year already, man. Now I know your community is growing. You have the fastest growing health rewards cryptocurrency in the entire space. So I want to find out more your secret to driving and pushing that demand and growing an ecosystem as fast as you have. I feel will be tremendously valuable to our audience.
Awesome, man.
Cool. So let's start with, state of affairs of where the crypto market's currently at. Bitcoin's hovering around $11,500. We're heading into the fourth quarter. We have massive institutional demand right now. Where do you see the Bitcoin price likely heading by the end of this year? Let's say by Christmas time.
Yeah, I'm a technical analyst, so when I look at charts and figure people are making a lot of decisions off those critical points, we've obviously seen some resistance at 12,000. I think I see a break through 12,000 with all this new stimulus money coming out. It'll come back down and retouch on 12,000. That's probably where I'll wait if I'm going to add to my position. And from there, I think it's very easy to say we'll retouch 20,000 by the end of the year and retouch those all-time highs. It's been 2 years coming, man. We're ready to get back there.
We had a long overdue, crypto winter. So Max Kaiser believes that once we hit 20, it's just going to blow past it because there's no real resistance. We'll be in price discovery mode, reaching a new all-time high. Do you feel we'll maybe touch 28,000 as his prediction before we see any major pullback? Just your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you look for that, and then you look for those, those Fibonacci pullbacks and see what kind of strength it has. I think one of the things jading the Bitcoin market is the futures markets. The traditional finance industry is trying to traditionally finance Bitcoin by creating these, futures contracts. And I think people are looking to those and saying, well, that's what they say it's worth. That's what it should be worth. So I'm gonna put my trades here. So you have that, your random walk theory is a little bit more associated with that. And I wish the traditional finance industry would get into blockchain and get away from these, manipulated, financial systems that they have with their third level trading where, I love Bitcoin because of its clarity, of its realness. That's what blockchain has principles about it. And I don't see the traditional finance industry agreeing with those principles, especially transparency.
Exactly. Now, obviously, we just had the halving, what, like 3 months ago or so. Now, it's the year following the halving. We see the massive parabolic gains. It looks to be that this parabolic season is just beginning. We're
Yeah.
noticing the altcoin dominance increase as the Bitcoin dominance decreases. So, what are your thoughts on alt season this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to follow suit. I mean, there's a lot of cash going into the market. U.S. has printed 5 trillion more money. It just there's no fundamentals behind cryptocurrency. It's supply and demand, and obviously we have a lot more tokens being released, but there's not as much capital being raised due to the social media clamping down on ICO advertising. It's hard to do an ICO. In fact, I think that market's kind of suffered the same fate the IPO market suffered after the internet bubble. But I'll tell you an interesting thing I always talk to people about. We've gone through a 10-year cycle from the time Satoshi released the white paper, and we had our bubble, we had our winter. And when you think about when Tim Berners-Lee introduced TCP/IP in the early 90s, internet went through its 10-year bubble. We had Y2K in 2000. There was the crash, but the biggest companies, Justin, were introduced after the crash in the internet. Facebook, Uber, Airbnb, some of the biggest companies. I mean, very few big companies before 2000 exist today. Amazon's there, PayPal's there. But when you think about the biggest movers, they were second, third, fourth movers. They came after the crash. And I tell people that's where we are. And I remember the internet. It was like all of a sudden people had to grow up. It wasn't about just having a business plan, a good URL, and a good board of advisors. With ICOs, it was a fancy website, a whole bunch of LinkedIn profiles, and a great white paper, and an idea. And you could raise 100 million or 4 billion for that matter with an ICO. So I'm really optimistic about where we are now because I think the big boys are coming into the marketplace and they're saying, you know what, we got to have a revenue model. It's got to make sense. We got to have financial accountability. There's more regulation coming in. I mean, every day you read Coinbase, somebody else is getting indicted. So the feds are after everybody and they're cleaning up the marketplace and getting rid of the bad actors, which is good.
Absolutely. And as you've noticed, we've had massive institutional demand with a very limited supply. We have companies like the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. They just launched a national TV ad. I'm sure you saw it, that 30-second clip. Last year, they released that gold clip,
Awesome.
talking about Bitcoin. So I'm starting to notice more ads, more advertising, it becoming more mainstream, more adoption. We just had the world's biggest business intelligence firm buy 21,000 Bitcoin for $250 million, a big acquisition. And this is a publicly traded company. We have the Cash App, which did like 850 million in revenue previous quarter. So we have that demand at an all-time high. We have Paul Tudor Jones calling Bitcoin the fastest horse in the race. And, he just allocated 1 to 2% of his overall investment portfolio into that. So what's your take on this massive demand driving the market right now?
Well, I think you're going to have all these big players coming in, but until you have that tipping point at 13% and you see the masses start getting into it, I think they're setting the tone. They're the early adopters. They're saying, hey, it's okay to get in the pool. And all of a sudden, now what we got to work on, Justin, is we got to work on the user interface. How do people actually relate with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Because it's still complicated. I mean, go use a MetaMask wallet and put that in front of 100 people who've never done digital currency. It's like, oh my God, what does this all mean? And so I think there's a huge learning curve, but I think what they're doing is they're setting the stage, they're placing their bets. We, of course, have seen the OCC come out and say banks can now start being custodians for cryptocurrency. So that adds credibility to it. But I think at last count, there was like 1 or 2% of the world actually has a cryptocurrency wallet right now. So we're still, what they say, experts say 2026 will be mass adoption, which I'm like, wow, that's going to come quick. But that's the speed of computing. That's the internet took 25 years. Cryptocurrency is going to take 17. That makes sense when you look at it. But I look at where we are right now. I think now's the time. If I'm an investor, I'm looking to put at least 10,000 into cryptocurrency before the end of the year. And then next year, we got 2021 to build our portfolios big. And then from there, we just ride it. I told everybody, I said, I want to have $1,000 and 500 of the top cryptos, put them all on a ledger, and have a balance reading party in 2026. And you're invited, by the way.
Looking forward to it, and I appreciate it. Check this out. In the last 2 weeks, Grayscale alone added 14,422 Bitcoin to their trust. MicroStrategy just bought 21,454 Bitcoin, and there is only 12,500 mined in the past 2 weeks. So we're talking about 35,000 Bitcoin bought up from 2 institutions alone.
Just 2.
Ridiculous,
and they're going to buy and hold them longer than most people will. These firms will. These are not going to be. They're not jockeying in and out of them. So I see these firms holding long term. And what that does is that just shrinks the available supply. And that's the beautiful thing about cryptocurrency. You know, when you have a fixed supply and increasing demand, your money goes up in value. And I tell everybody, I said, they said, why do you like Bitcoin over traditional money? I said, well, in the 30 years I've been working, my traditional money's lost 50% of its value. In the time I've been involved in Bitcoin, it's added a 0 to its worth every 2 years for the last 10 years. So I just think that's a smarter decision. Call me stupid, but I think that's a better deal.
100%. And now I want to talk about scarcity, because obviously there can only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. There's a limited supply. Now, we can't say the same thing for gold and silver because those are centralized precious metals. I have to trust somebody else's expertise on there being a limited supply. I just read a news story from National Geographic last week that they discovered infinite amounts of gold and silver like in the oceans. So I actually have to trust another human being, which maybe don't deserve my trust. You know what I mean? When it comes to money.
And if Peter Diamandis has his way and he mines a meteor and brings it back to Earth and it has $1 trillion of precious metals, how does that affect the gold market? Because there are entrepreneurs like Jeff Bezos and Peter Diamandis that are actually going out to mine asteroids. And they say one asteroid could have between $1 trillion and $10 trillion worth of valuable metals in it. How does that affect the gold market?
Exactly. And I feel that's what makes Bitcoin the hardest form of money. We can't say the same thing against those other safe haven assets such as precious metals, even though, you know, they're roaring right now. That could change. You cannot change the code, and we trust in the mathematics written within. So what about Ethereum? This has been a very controversial subject as of lately. Everyone's talking about it on crypto Twitter, but what's the limited total cap of Ethereum? It tends to differ depending upon how you calculate it, and all the exchanges are calculating it differently. So I'd love to know your take. Is Ethereum a true, is there a limited cap, and how does all that work in your thought process?
Well, it's not a finite cap, but they have the choice to keep it a limited cap. I think the last number I saw was about 112 billion tokens, but I think Ethereum's value comes in all of the alternative ecosystems that are being created, all the other dApps and things that are being built around it. So, I don't have as much a feeling because, I think XRP doesn't have a limit. Ripple doesn't have a limit. When we first started our crypto, we didn't have a limit. But people really do like that hard limit. They really do like that. And we've added something even more interesting. We've added in the token burning. And as I like to say, we're better than Bitcoin. And I say that jokingly, but Bitcoin, I'm a huge fan of it. But I think our model is better because not only do we have a finite supply of 30 billion, but in the last month, since we've launched this new version of our blockchain, we have 1 billion less. So we actually have 29 billion. So I think there's a psychological factor there that my members will log in every day and they will see a lesser amount and they'll know it's getting more scarce. It's just not fixed. So I think that's pretty cool. Token burning is something that I think is going to be very popular.
Absolutely. And it just is common sense. And right now we're witnessing a lot of the decentralized finance coins, such as what's it called? Chainlink soaring to new all-time highs. We see there was just, oh, my dog, don't mind him in the background. But we had, Coinbase just started offering crypto-backed loans, which is very interesting, where they take your Bitcoin as collateral and you can borrow, I think up to $20,000 is how they're kicking it off. Cash App just made an announcement as well, going to be introducing that. And the decentralized finance space just boomed from 1 billion to 5 billion in such a short period of time. And we're at the cusp of this next parabolic rally. So there's just so much to be excited about in the market right now. Now let's kind of switch gears, Tom. CMDX, how's it going, man? I know you're roaring right now. Why don't you give us an update since last time we had this chat?
Yeah, so I think last time we'd made a pivot and moved on to Ethereum, and of course we've been loving it. The recent DeFi movement has increased the gas tremendously, which is a real issue. We've recently had discussions with 0x about creating a side chain, or what they call layer 2 technology, so we can process all of our transactions at affordable cost and then migrate them back on the mainnet. But Cmdx is growing. We're in 44 countries, 296,000 members, and we didn't start off at a Satoshi. We started off at the very bottom at a tenth of a Satoshi. Well, the exchange that we're on actually calculates it at that, and as of today, I think we're up to 9/10 of a Satoshi. So we've had about an 800% increase this year,
Wow.
and we've just launched a kind of, I guess you'd call it a staking program. We call it exchange purchased subscriptions, which are memberships to our software. And that's actually started creating a lot more trading volume for us. And I tell you, Justin, that's the challenge as a cryptocurrency company owner. How do you, number one, get people to want your cryptocurrency? And number two, how do you get them to not want to sell it and turn it into a Bitcoin, or an Ethereum? And that's like, airdrops have failed miserably. Yeah, they create wide distribution. Everybody gets your token, and all of a sudden they convert it into Bitcoin, and your coin tank, or your token price goes in the tank. But I think we've really cracked the code on it with the token burning. I think people get that we have a lot of upside, being that we're at almost one Satoshi right now. But I see us we don't have a lot of resistance once we get past 9/10 of a Satoshi. And then after that, there's very little resistance up to 10 Satoshis for us. So, we generate about 100, 200,000 a month on buying volume on the exchange, and we'll see really great results by the end of the year. Our goal right now is to get to one Satoshi will put us at a $30 million market cap. That puts us in what, the top 250, I think, or somewhere in that range. But our goal, we've got our sights set on hitting about 40 Satoshis, and that will put us in the top 100 of coin market cap. That's our goal. By the end of next year, we may be able to do it sooner than that. But getting people to we've found out how to get people to acquire our crypto through exercise and business related activities. That's been easy. Great partnership with Human API, where they can wear up to 30 brands of different Fitbit devices. So they can earn points for exercising, sleeping, burning calories, cycling, and running. And then, of course, if they refer a provider to our new marketplace, they can earn 10% transaction fee on anything their provider sells on our marketplace. And so we have found the avenues to distribute the cryptocurrency. And then, of course, Brittany with the UBDI, Universal Basic Data Income model, where we're actually showing people how to monetize their health data. So I think we've got a great business model. The hard part was trying to create the demand on the exchange, because the majority of our customers are from emerging growth countries. They're not used to doing KYC. Some of them can't do KYC. But getting them to teach them how to buy on the exchange and use it is a big deal. And one thing that we did really cool, another thing that we added since I talked to you, when people, they can sign up with Bitcoin or CMDX. If they sign up with CMDX, we burn 100% of those tokens. So what it does is it incentivizes you to want to sell your tokens directly. So if you wanted to enroll, I could sell you the tokens directly. You go sign up and use them in our e-commerce system, and we burn 90% of them. We put 10% in a charity wallet. And so the idea is, out of every $50 membership sold, $5 goes to helping somebody that's in need. But you're also reducing the supply, which means if you're hodling, that means your piece of the pie is getting bigger every day you wake up.
So
every day our supply goes down, your piece of the pie gets bigger.
So
So
right there,
that's a reward mechanism right there.
that's the incentive to hodl and keep CMDX versus dumping it because you're being rewarded due to that scarcity of the burning. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and with the new exchange purchased subscriptions, well, what we're doing is we're basically saying, hey, if you go onto the exchange and buy a silver subscription for $1,100, we'll comp you the silver level subscription and give you another $1,100 for doing your health style profile. So we have figured out how to create some buying demand on there. And I think as it goes up, what happens, and we're not into pumping tons of press releases or anything like that, or attending the big trade shows and spending $50,000 to do a trade show. That's not the model. I want it to be more organic, and I want it to be more formula driven, but not, not private formula driven. I want the formula to be completely transparent.
Awesome. And now let's talk about data. How valuable is somebody's healthcare data, and how could they get paid off of their own data if they're not already?
Yeah, well, we have Brittany, and she's powered by Amazon AI. She's basically Amazon Alexa, and Brittany will do a health style profile with you. So she'll sit down and ask. We have 5 sets of 50 questions. So depending on what subscription you have, you can earn anywhere from $150 of CMDX all the way up to $5,500 of CMDX answering all the questions. And so what we're doing is a concept called universal basic data income. You fill out the questionnaire, we de-identify it, and then Brittany will make recommendations to you based on the providers in our health marketplace. So it's the same model as Google. The only difference is we're not keeping their money for their information. We're giving it to them. We're paying them. Basically, it's an intellectual property lease agreement. It's what it is. So you say, hey, you can use my information to make recommendations on the healthcare marketplace in exchange for X number of tokens, and de-identify it. You can't sell it to anybody else. Once my term is up, I can delete my data. I can download it. I can take it with me. I can upload it to another avatar if I want to. So that's the whole idea of this sovereign identity, the self-sovereign identity model. But I think that's the way it's going to be. It's no different than Minority Report. Remember when he had that lady's eyeballs in his head and he walked into the mall and she says, do you want some Prada sunglasses or something like that? I think we're going to get to a point where advertisers have to pay you to access your data. You're going to give them permission, and that's all going to be blockchain driven. That's we know that Anheuser-Busch is one of the biggest users of blockchain technology in advertising. But I think that the idea, you asked me a question, what's your information worth? Your personal information to a high volume advertiser like Google is probably $1,000 a year for basic information. And this varies by country as well. I'm basing this off United States numbers. Your medical data, imagine if they knew you had diabetes and they could sell an Eversense glucose monitor that mounts under your finger, and how much that would be worth, and then put you on an automatic reorder for diabetes medicine. That's worth about $5,000 a year. And if you're a professional doctor, lawyer, CPA, your data could be worth $25,000 a year to Tesla if they could sell you a car. And so when you think about that, it's a lot of people don't realize that 7 of the 10 biggest companies in the world are all wealthy because of our data. 7 of the 10 biggest companies in the world made money off of our data. And it is, I think Economist magazine had a cover one day that said data is the new oil. And but people talk about universal basic income and just giving away crypto. That's like doing an airdrop to me. There's no value in it. The only time you have value in money is when you exchange energy for value. And whether you're having to run a mile to earn that money, or you're having to work a job for an hour or a week and get paid a paycheck, I don't think people value money unless they exchange some form of value for it. And I think just giving away cryptocurrency, we saw that failed in Scotland. They tried that, but I think when they say, okay, so I'm giving you my data and you're giving me money for it, now I know there's an exchange of value there. And I think Bitcoin's the same way. I mean, when you use your computer to mine coins, you're paying a power bill, and that money you're getting in exchange has some value. So we believe there's a lot of different ways to mine crypto. It's not just using a rig or a graphics card. We think that your data, sharing your data is a form of mining. And of course, you've heard of data mining. The only difference is we're paying you for it. And so, just everything. Our clothes are going to have monitors in it. Our skin, we're going to have augmented, reality, augmented bodies where we're going to put chips in our hands. It's crazy. What's going to happen. I mean, if you've watched Neuralink or anything like that with Elon Musk, and you think about the possibilities of that, it's just insane.
Yeah, man, what the future holds, it is truly incredible what we're already capable of and what's coming down the pipe, for sure.
Yeah.
So to me, it makes sense. Why not get paid off of your data, instead of being pillaged by your data and taken advantage of by these major corporations?
Well, I think When you look at where the internet's heading, I think if people understood, and let me say this: when I got introduced to the internet in '93, they showed me email, and they showed me the killer app. Killer app was email, and it wasn't the browser, but email was the first one. That's when we all could become our post office. And I say this: I say what's going on now is we have that new killer app, and that killer app is cryptocurrency, where it allows us all to become, maybe it's the wallet. The wallet allows us all to become our own world bank. And instead of becoming a post office, we're now becoming a bank. And I think people need to understand the technology that makes that work. If I would have known what TCP/IP was, which is what makes the internet work, then I would have seen a lot more where the industry was headed. And I think it's important that people understand blockchain technology to a point where all you have to understand is this technology creates trust between two people like me and Justin without us having to use an intermediary. And the minute you understand that this software actually works, you go, oh man, this is going to affect the legal industry. This is going to affect the accounting industry, the banking industry. The banking industry alone is a $60 trillion industry, just one industry that blockchain is going to disrupt. And I just would encourage everybody, don't make the mistake I made in the 90s and only focus on email, the killer app. Understand why it works. And when you do, when you watch Don Tapscott's TED Talk on blockchain revolution, and you realize this technology is going to bring the music industry back. All artists around the world are going to get paid for what they've created instead of their stuff stolen. There's just so many industries. And on a real estate transactions, it's going to save us 15%. Our house is going to sell energy to our neighbor's house. And then our refrigerator is going to use that money to buy a yogurt or 3 yogurts because you're running low, or replace your soured milk, and a self-driving car is going to show up, and your Uber, your car is going to go out and Uber at 10 o'clock at night to go make money and pay for itself. In the next 5 years, we're going to see some absolutely amazing things happen because of this technology called blockchain. And don't confuse it with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just an app that runs on top of this technology. This technology is highly disruptive. And I'd say I'm more excited about blockchain than I am my own company, but I'm happy that the foundation of my company is built on this transparent, highly efficient product. And with some of the new layer 2 technologies that are coming out, it's proving it can be scalable as well, which has been the biggest problem with cryptocurrency since it started.
Awesome. So you're now on the Ethereum blockchain as an ERC20 token, which is awesome. Which wallets do you recommend people use who are just getting started and want to store their crypto, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, Cmdx, whatever it may be?
I've seen one I really like that I've just demoed was Lumi Wallet, and they have a really nice user interface. I'm always studying user interface when I check out a wallet. Like, I wouldn't recommend MetaMask, even though I love MetaMask, because the average person couldn't figure out how to use it. I like Engine as well, but the average person, I guess it's easier. It's about as easy as Lumi to use. My Ether wallet, forget about it. It's a great wallet. It's super secure, but if you got to be a rocket scientist to use the thing. So I would say, of all the ones I've seen for an average individual, Trust Wallet is really nice. Lumi Wallet is nice, and ultimately blockchain. If your first step into the cryptocurrency space is in downloading a blockchain wallet, that one's great as well. For the average user, they're going to go to Coinbase, and that's going to be their first experience. And I think Coinbase has done an amazing job with their user interface. It's very user friendly, but their fees are just outrageous, and that's the only thing that bothers me about Coinbase, and a
Awesome.
couple other things.
Love it, man. I've been using the Trust wallet on the phone. I
Yeah.
like the fact you could put literally like all the coins I have, like there's a wallet for it within Trust. And I think that's produced by the Binance crew, right? Put that one out. So that's a good one. And I love the the cold storage wallets where you could store your crypto for the long haul, get them off a line. And, Trezor works great, and the Nano Ledger. Now, last question for you, brother. Where do you see the Bitcoin price likely by the end of 2021, which is the end of next year? Stock to Flow predicts about, what did they say, $100,000 or $120,000 price trajectory. I'm just curious if you think we can crack 6 digits by the end of next year, realistically.
I think if the Democrats win the election, you better believe we're going to. I think there's going to be mass unemployment, and not to get political, but yeah, I'm looking more at the political side of it. I think Trump doesn't have any fear of creating a lot of capital, and that's going to make it skyrocket. So I don't know. Past what I can see on the technical charts, until you get through a all-time high and you see where it breaks out to, then there's some measurements that you can say, well, I can project it's going to go to here. But the capital flow wise, I'm still stuck on the end of 2022 at a quarter million. Most of the formulas that I've seen and the intelligent people that have analyzed the supply and flow of Bitcoin have said that a quarter million by the end of 2022 is very easy. And to be honest with you, all I really care is 2026 when I have my balance checking party. That's when I'm going to check it. All I'm focused on right now, Justin, is adding to my portfolio, spreading it out. Like I said, my strategy right now by the end of next year would be to have $1,000 in 500 different cryptos. And I don't care if you do 50 or you do 500, or 1,000, but spread it out, because you don't know which one's going to be the next Bitcoin. And the biggest ones have been yet to introduced, and I want to ride those 5,000,000% returns, because frankly, I missed Bitcoin. I got in it at $7 and I got out. I got out and made like 29. I think I got out at 432. If I would have held on to that damn coin, I'd have $4 million today. And so don't make that mistake. Buy and hold, and accumulate as many as you can. Especially, I think the ones that get in the top 100, top 250 of coin market cap that have good trading volume. One of the other tips I use is I look at the number of commits they have on GitHub. They've did a study that showed the cryptos that have the most commits on GitHub typically have the highest ROIs. That's another tip that I tell people. But build your own portfolio. I just had a friend message me this morning. He invested in a company, and it was in one of those investment funds, smart contract investment funds. Lost 3.5 Bitcoins in it. They shut their doors and split with 7,000 Bitcoins. Hang on. These things are so valuable, man. I don't care if they're given 10% a month or 1,000% a month. Build your own portfolio, put them in cold storage, protect them like they're gold and diamonds, and don't turn the custody over to somebody else. I just think that's a huge mistake. So that's my last gold nugget or tip of the day.
Sage advice, brother. And where could people find out more about CMDX? And of course, I'll include all the links in the show notes below the video in the description. But what's your best website for them to get more info?
Yeah, cmdx.io. They can go there and look at it. There's we have a 26-minute self-registered webinar, automated webinar on there. They can watch that. Excited. We are launching a new site coming up in September that's really hot looking. So we've got our next website coming up. cmdx.tv. We have a lot of videos on our Vimeo channel there. And then our Facebook group is CMDX News and Updates. We've got about 15,000 people in there that are conversing on a regular basis about CMDX.
Love it, brother. Well, looking forward to chatting with you again soon. Make it a great day.
You too. Live healthy, be wealthy, man.
Likewise, brother. Peace. Well, that's going to conclude today's show. As always, I appreciate you tuning in and journeying along with me inside this incredible crypto matrix. If you gain value out of today's show, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts just like this every single day. And real quick before I go, if interested in tapping into OPM and leveraging other people's money to grow your wealth and crypto portfolio, smash the link right below this video in the description and register for this free system entitled OPM Wealth. You'll be glad you did, and I look forward to catching you in tomorrow's episode. Peace.